I am here in Munich.
Yeah,
and
welcome.
Who are you?
Servus zusammen, welcome. I'm Florian Paul. I'm the CCO of Munich, the cycling coordinator for the City of Munich. So I'm working here in the city administration in the mobility department, and I'm dealing with all issues around cycling and the cycling infrastructure. And I'm also doing a lot of communications and marketing for cycling on conferences, and that's where I met you.
Yes.
And that's why we are meeting today in Munich.
Fantastic. And what are we going to see today?
We are starting here in the heart of Munich,
Yeah.
at the inner city cycling ring, which was built, the first section, around 3 years ago. And this is like a huge project. It's part of the so-called bicycle referendum, the Münchner Radentscheid. And this is like one of the special parts of it, building a new inner city cycle ring. And we're right next to the the headquarters of the fire department. And this is a major road, so part of the inner city ring road. And there used to be like 2 car lanes on every side. And there was like just a bicycle lane, and now we have a bicycle path which is almost 3 meters wide, and on the other side there was no bicycle infrastructure at all, and we built this like new cycle path which is also around 3 meters wide, and we got rid of 1 car lane, and it's very comfortable and safe now to go there by bike, and there we will start our tour.
Now you're on your wonderful cargo bike here, and you've got a nice Bosch electric assist there. So I just have my Brompton, so you're going to have to be kind on me and not go too fast.
I try. That's my office bike actually. So
Fantastic.
yeah, I will be very kind.
This stretch right here, like you said, this is really impressive. This is nice to have.
It will be even more impressive in a couple of weeks because it will get a green surface. So the whole inner city cycle ring will get a green surface or asphalt, and we will see some other sections later on where it is already realized. So
excellent.
It will get green
I
color.
saw some on my walk this morning. Yeah, look forward to seeing that. And then that's sort of the difference is you're going to have a green here. Are you still going to keep the red for the conflict zones?
Yeah, that's correct.
Right.
We will have the red markings at the intersections for the conflict zones or dangerous parts of it.
Yeah.
So that it can be good seen. The car drivers can recognize the bicycle infrastructure, and also the cyclists are aware of that there is a conflict zone.
Yeah. And then using the green tinted asphalt, is that mainly to differentiate so pedestrians and cyclists kind of know where they're going to be?
Yes, that's also one reason, but also that the new bicycle infrastructure is more visible because now it's gray. I mean, it's great because it's wide and there's enough space, but still it looks like the road surface and it's gray.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why we chose to have a new color on the inner cycle city ring, also for tourists, for example.
Right.
That they can recognize it more easily.
Right, yeah, it's a good point. And then once you're able to create that consistency of, it'll be that green sort of colored asphalt. You've got the green or the red in the conflict zones where it sends a clear message to motor vehicle drivers that, hey, you're likely to run across, not run over,
but that's correct.
But come in conflict with a person on a bike.
And now we see the red stretch here at the intersection, and there's enough space like to being passed over or overtaken by other cyclists, and we can easily go next to each other.
Right, yeah.
But there are also many construction sites at the moment, as we see here. So this whole thing was new, redesigned and refurbished. There was like just a car lane, and now it was changed. And now we see also a big intersection. We are at Sendinger Torplatz, and this is like completed only a couple of weeks ago. There was a huge refurbishment of the mezzanine sector of the underground. And this whole intersection was like renewed in the last 4 to 5 years. So there was a big construction site going on, which was very annoying for all the people here.
Right.
And now it's new. We have like the big bicycle lanes over this intersection, and we have like new elevators for the passengers of the public transport. And we have like the first green parts. We will come next. Stop by.
Oh yeah.
We just have a short stop there on the other side.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And overtake him. So this whole part here was just finished a couple of weeks and months ago. It was all construction site because of the new mezzanine floor of the underground or the subway. And also the whole intersection, the junction was new designed, and there are like new markings now, new lanes for cyclists, and it's very wide cycle lanes.
Yeah.
And on the other side we see a very wide cycle lane which has a new traffic signal. So that is just for cyclists turning right. They can go right with the cars turning right, but if they want to go straight, the cars, they have red light. So it's also new. It's really just a big junction and a big traffic light just for cyclists.
Yeah.
And this is like newly established at many junctions now, and this is like the first one we really realized it now.
Fantastic. I'll swing around and get a little B-roll of this so we can kind of see
We have
that.
many pedestrians. It's like a huge intersection also for public transport. We have tram, buses, we have the underground, and this is like the really inner city, like Marienplatz, which is the heart of Munich.
Yeah.
It's like 1.5 kilometers from here.
Okay.
And this is Sendlinger Torplatz, and it's a huge public transport hub for all passengers.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. And
you
again,
can
this is that new green asphalt treatment that we'll see more of in the city.
We will see more of that.
Yeah, later on, and also in the future, like you said, back there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, this is great. This is so much vibrancy and so much activity happening here.
And it's so much easier now for pedestrians and cyclists to cross this intersection because it was very narrow in the past. I have a few pictures. I don't know if I can show it to you. Just to show how it looked like before.
Oh yeah.
So we are standing right here, and there used to be a separated car lane to turn right.
Oh yeah, that
and
was a slip lane,
there was a slip lane, and also the cycle path in the middle. And it was very unsecure, and now it's a lot safer because it's a built cycle path now.
Right. Yeah.
It's right here next to us. And the cars have to go slower when they turn right. And the whole intersection it's a lot more space, like in the or in real now. And it used to be very narrow and limited space for pedestrians especially. Still very vibrant, many cars, but it's more space now, and it's safer.
And helping to slow that motor vehicle speed down, in that intersection, because you don't have that permissive right where the cars would get that momentum and they're like whipping around there. So this really helps to slow everybody down. And again, you just see the amount of people through here. I think that's really important because you can still move a lot of people, pedestrians, people in cars, as well as people in bikes. But since the speeds are slower, it's a much safer environment.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you see the special traffic lights for cyclists over there. And the turning lights, and it makes it so much safer now for the cyclists, but also for pedestrians and car drivers.
And that's what we have to do when we're in a big city.
Shall we go on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So here we can see the transition from the new bicycle path to the old one.
Oh yeah.
Which was like built 20, 30 years ago. It's not that narrow, but still it's limited space.
Right.
And I mean, we have like 3 car lanes, we have a parking lane, and it's also our ambition and the goal to build a wide bicycle path with around 3 meters width here.
Okay.
Also with green surface, and also separated from pedestrians and also separated from cars, of course. Build it up. And now beware, be careful, construction site. It's also very special about Munich. It's a very dense city.
Yeah.
It's very crowded. It's a growing population. It's also growing. The transport and car ownership is still growing, but also cycling is growing.
Right.
Very massive in the last 20, 25 years. So we had a model share in 2002, which was like 10%. It rose to, in 2017, to 18%. And at the moment, we have around 22% model share bicycle. So that's the city jungle, like in the inner city.
Yeah.
You have a lot of cars still, a lot of parking places, but still very many pedestrians, tourists, people visiting the city. Here you see also a conflict part because many tourists are crossing here. Left to us is the Hauptbahnhof, the central station.
Right.
And right to us is the big pedestrian zone of Munich. It starts here, it's
Right.
Stachus.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most crowded pedestrian malls in whole Europe, I think.
Right,
so.
right.
And here you see all the guests coming, so
Oh, yeah.
beware.
Yeah.
So now we are at Lehnbachplatz.
Okay.
And here there's the third part of the inner city cycle ring, which is just finished at the moment. So that's part of the old infrastructure, and here starts a new one. So
Yeah. And then we also see we've got 30-kilometer-per-hour zones there, so that shared space.
pedestrians on the
Yep.
cycle path, it's
Yep.
no problem. Sorry. And also the white markings here on the cycle path. It's green, the
Yeah.
surface.
Yeah.
We will have other parts with a more colorful green.
Okay.
But still, I mean, there's a difference now between gray and you see red, green turning arrow for
Yeah.
cyclists, just
Right.
for cyclists.
Yeah.
And this is all brand new. So this was just
Yeah.
finished last year. There's a lot of space now for the bus passengers, for pedestrians here,
Yeah.
for cyclists, also for parked bikes. And we converted like one car lane here. So
Yeah.
there's still 2 car lanes. We have parking spaces here for buses or
Yeah.
taxis. And so it's much more comfortable now. So
Yeah.
it used to be very narrow and so less space for the pedestrians and the eco-mobility, and now it's really easy and unstressful to go here.
Yeah, this is fantastic. And like you said, you didn't have to completely destroy the street. There's still
Yeah.
2 traffic lanes. There's still car parking,
Yeah.
which is great because it's even more protection
Yeah.
for the bike lane.
It's also
and
enough space for the delivery services, for example, or economic transport modes. So
Yeah.
deliveries to restaurants and
Yeah.
shops, and that's also important to have it.
Really
So
fantastic.
now we come to the next construction site.
Yep.
So we have to go right.
Do you think you could fit a Steinway piano on there?
Maybe. Here's
There you
also a poster board of the construction, which shows that it's not just a part of the inner city cycle ring, but it's also the starting point of the bicycle highway, which is going north. So it's the pilot highway going here from the inner city over Ludwigstraße, Leopoldstraße, Ingolstädter Straße to Garching, where there are parts of the university. So there's a big campus, and it connects like the inner city with a big suburb of Munich, which is also connected by the subway. But still, there are many students going there, and they want to have a good bicycle connection. So we are building this bicycle highway there.
Love it. This is fantastic. And yeah, you can see that a lot of this new pedestrian realm has already been laid down. And
you see a parking area for shared mobility. So you have shared bikes and e-scooters.
Right.
So there's a special places and parking places all over the inner city. They just can park there, not anywhere else, because we have the same problems like Paris or London with the parked or badly parked e-scooters. So we designed like zones for them, for the companies which own it, that they can park it there, and also the users, they know that they have to park there, because otherwise they will pay a fine for it.
They will pay a fine. Now over here I see that we've got a little bit of fresh asphalt, but it's just slightly lower than the lip. Is that going to be reserved then for that finer,
the green
final
asphalt?
The green asphalt is really only going to be, how many centimeters would you say that is
it's
thick?
Like 2 or 3 centimeters, I'd say.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have a look there.
Oh, they might
because
even
they
be,
just wanted to start it here like this week. Maybe we can take a look there.
Fantastic. And it's great that you're able to get that pigment into the actual mix of the asphalt.
It was quite a process for us.
Yes, I know, and we're still working on that in Austin, Texas. We have figured out how to get our terracotta red tint into the concrete, but we haven't quite been able to convince the asphalt folks to get in.
We had a lot of experiments for that.
Yeah.
To get the right color. We also, the first stretch we saw is very gray actually.
Yeah.
So now we tried out many different colors, and our building department, they had a huge test going on like for several months, and they tried it out. So we're, at the moment, we found a good mixture for it in the asphalt, and we will see that right next to this place here.
Fantastic. Let's go see it. Yeah, it's those little details.
Yeah, it's always about little details.
That's right.
The devil is in the detail, we say always. And this whole area and this whole junction is also redesigned now and refurbished. And you can see the new cycle path turning right here.
Oh, right, yeah.
The cobblestones, the side stones. So it's green. So due to this development, we have many construction sites all over the city. So not just building cycle paths and cycle infrastructure, for instance, but I mean, it's a growing city, so many things happening at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. And really trying to stay on top of all that construction so that you can, be able to capitalize on that opportunity to redo streets.
We can have a short stop here. I can show you a before picture here as well. Yeah, how it looked like before, like a year before. Just a short stop.
Now, was this a missed opportunity to do the green here?
Yeah, because it's not real part, so we just crossed the big junction, and so we took another road, and this is not part of the inner city cycle ring, so it's another big part, and it's like connected there. Yeah. I didn't want to go because it's a very small and narrow part with even more construction sites. Yeah. And I just wanted to show you today what's already finished, because the old part is Brienner Straße and Odeonsplatz. It's a nice place, but it's old-fashioned and very narrow. So I wanted to show you a picture here. Yeah. So we are standing, like the view is the same, and as you can see, like we have like more trees now. We have this green zone here, and you see the Siemens. So this is like the site here, where now AWS WeWork is, and you see there's more. There was a narrow cycle path, and now there's a lot of space for pedestrians, and there's this big, broad cycle path right next to the street. Yeah. And there used to be like a car parking for buses, and also cars. And now it's just one lane, and the bus stop is like in front of it. Yeah. So this is all very new designed, and it looks a lot better now for cyclists.
Fantastic. And again, just for clarification, you're using the green asphalt just in the ring.
Just for the ring.
Yeah.
It's not yet decided by the city council if we use it also for new other bicycle infrastructure, which is planned out of the bicycle referendum. So we have like a lot of major projects going on at the moment, and it's not yet decided. I would be in favor for it because it's better to recognize it. It's for tourists and also for the cyclists and the car drivers especially. I would be in favor for it, but I mean it costs a lot of money. It's a new way of construction, and it's new effort, so it's a question of money and effort, and also a political decision as well.
But this is gorgeous to see the way that this has been done.
I mean,
really brilliant.
That's almost perfect. I mean, the green color would be nice, but still you can see like it's that where it's protected by this Bordstein, how do you call that?
A curb,
Side curb?
Yeah, a curb,
it's pretty well protected. Even if there is not car parking there, I think no normal car driver would have the idea to cross or use the cycle path to be faster or use it as a bypass.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to split hairs and say probably the only thing that I would probably change about it, it'd probably be to have a little bit about that green infrastructure and the trees separating the people on bikes from the people in the cars.
I think that was not possible at this situation, but it's a lot better than before.
It's a lot better than obviously it was before. So this is wonderful.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. And it's really, really impressive just how smooth this is too. It's an absolute joy.
Easy going now.
Yeah, absolute joy.
It's a pleasure now to cycle here. It wasn't before, but now it's really comfortable. And there's a tunnel beneath us.
Okay.
It's the Altstadtring-Tunnel. It's also new design, so there's big construction, and it's like a construction for like 5 years now.
Right.
And the surface on top of it is all new now here. And there will be a very impressive part now again of the inner city cycle ring, where we will like go on over the junction here.
Yeah.
And you will find the green color again.
Okay. Yeah, I see it up ahead.
So we have to stop here at Ludwigstraße.
And is this intended to be a two-way cycle track?
No.
Okay.
There will be a separate lane on the other side.
Okay.
Like the same width.
Sure.
And the cycle path which is in front of us will be also a separated one, so it's not a two-lane cycleway, but there's the construction on the other side, so at the moment it's a two-way.
At the moment it is,
During the construction phase. And like the street we are crossing now is Ludwigstraße, and there will be the big cycle highway going north from the inner city. So, and this will also be a brand new cycle infrastructure in a couple of years.
Fantastic.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And that's one of the major roads into Munich. So there's a lot of history here and university, and in summertime there are big parades going on and demonstrations, and so that's a huge part of the city where a lot of things are happening. There's a street life festival and bike parades and late nights. So a big parade street here.
Oh yeah.
So we just stop here, right? Because I will show you another picture, how it looked like before. It's really crazy. That is like probably the most impressive part of the already built cycle ring. So you see the building here on the right-hand side. So we are right at this place here.
Yep.
And that used to be the cycle path before. So it was a mixture of pedestrians and cycle lane on the pedestrian way.
Yeah.
And now it looks completely different. So it's such a pleasure to see this now.
Yeah.
There were like 2 car lanes. It's just 1 car lane, but there's the new tunnel under it. So we have like plenty of space now for cyclists. And also it's a lot safer now for pedestrians.
Yeah.
And it's great to see the conversion and the refurbishment of this stretch here. I was terrified. I'd never used it. When you went or you cycled here, I was always terrified because it was so narrow in the past, and now it's a pleasure to be, even if with the cars right next to the cyclists, it's such a difference now.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's also it's a bit more brighter green asphalt here.
Yeah, yeah.
So that will be, I think, the final green color, which we will have on many other, or on all the other sections of the inner city cycle ring.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like you've hit the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a nice Kermit to it, as they say, fresh Kermit.
Yeah, that's so true.
And so much better than doing paint. You know, it's that paint is always a catch-22. You've got to get it the right mixture and consistency to make sure that it's also not slippery.
Yeah.
And paint flakes away easily. And so
and you have to renew it like every 3, 4, 5 years.
Exactly.
It costs a lot. I mean, it looks nice at first. Yeah. But then after a couple of years, it's like gray again, and then you have to renew it, and that makes more work and costs more money.
Yeah. This will be an investment for,
I hope, for the next decades.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on.
I was going to say the same thing, decade. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes so much fun now to go here.
Yeah.
It was terrible in the past, and now it's just great.
Yeah. Now, you referenced a tunnel a couple of times. Does that mean that some of the car traffic is in the tunnel now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's already in the tunnel. It was gesperrt. So the car traffic had to be all on the surface, and it's now open since half a year now.
Okay.
And the traffic is again in the tunnel, most of the traffic.
Fantastic. That's great. And so that takes a little bit of that pressure from the surface street motor vehicle travel lanes, which makes this even more, necessary, because we'd like to get more and more people riding bikes.
There's the American, not the embassy, but the consulate.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And now we have a beautiful line of trees here.
Here's on the left-hand side starts the English Garden, the Englischer Garten, the big park in Munich, like the Central Park in New York.
Nice.
And it's a very nice recreational area for the inhabitants here, all the people living in Munich, but also for tourists and beer gardens. And
there's a wonderful cycling route through there too, and I know there's lots of water features in there too.
Yeah.
And the river is running through there.
Yeah, you can go surfing there on the river.
Yeah. Literally you can go surfing there.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
That's a small creek.
Yeah.
But there are other parts of the Isar, the City River, where you can go swimming and surfing and like play with your children, and it has a very good water quality. So So go left here. That's where the Bavarian Prime Minister is working. So that's the Bayerische Staatskanzlei.
Nice.
So also a big building.
We naturally gravitate to the smoother pavers off of the cobbles.
Yeah. Here's some rickshaw services as well. So we have many rickshaws, rickshaw driver, not just during the Oktoberfest, but during the whole year.
Yeah.
For tourists, but also for disabled people, for example.
Yeah. And we just saw a person on a mobility device rolling by, and that's the other really important factor, is that this type of high comfort cycle network is wonderful for people using mobility devices. It's not just for fit cyclists, it's really meant to be for everybody.
And you will see like like all sorts of people using the bicycle infrastructure. You will
Yeah.
see children and parents and senior citizens, elderly people,
Yeah.
people with race bikes, cyclists with pedelecs, so
Yeah.
electrified bikes, and now maybe not at that time of the day, but many school children also on bicycles, and it
Right.
shows that there's a cycling culture. I mean, it's crowded and you have to be very careful when
Sure.
you go by bike, but still it's a bike city and it's quite safe to use your bike even if you are a child or you're going to school or to university, for example.
Yeah.
I used to cycle to school like when I was in high school every day, and it feels actually quite safe. Not all the time and everywhere, but the main network is pretty good. We're still working on that and realizing the bicycle referendum, which brings us new and wide cycling infrastructure. And here's a stretch that was built like 20 years ago, and it's already pretty good. So
Yeah.
it's almost the standard of the bicycle referendum. It's also part of this inner city cycle ring, but that's one of the parts we said we don't have to do anything. It's already, it has a quality already for cyclists and also for pedestrians, and it's separated from the parked cars, but also from the car driving or the driving cars. So
Right.
that's pretty safe, and it's also a safe quality of cycling here already.
Yeah. Very, very comfortable, and again, still quite smooth for the most part. Eventually, you will need to redo the asphalt, and when you do that, you can make that decision whether it makes sense to do the green or not.
I think here we will have green color on it because it's too expensive to change all the asphalt, and there will be a green colored section now coming, and we're going straight. So the city center is right to us on the right hand side. We're just circling around. And there's now the last section of the inner city cycling ring, which was also completed like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's the old one, the old infrastructure. And now we're on the new section of the cycle ring. There's also a big car garage underneath here
Okay.
for visitors, but also for the Munich people.
Okay.
And now this is Thomas Wimmering, and there was also a long discussion how we are reshaping and redesigning this. And now it looks great. There are like 2 car lanes. We don't need car parking on the surface because we have this big garage underneath.
Right.
And we have like this wide cycle path here. And it used to be very narrow, 1 car lane more and a lot of traffic. And now it's very smooth and also quiet.
Yeah.
And now we are again on the old infrastructure. So and that's how it looked like everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like from the 70s. I mean, it was built for maybe 10% of model share cycling, and now we have 22, 23%.
Yeah.
So we need more space for cyclists and more space for pedestrians and also the public transport. And that's the goal we are working on.
Yeah. I remember from my visit in 2015, some of the older, the blue bike symbol, the blue with the white. Yeah, I remember that from my trip here back then.
So we will cross that street and stop then there and go to the left, and we are like leaving now the cycle ring. Also, this whole intersection will be redesigned and replanned in a couple of years. And we're leaving now the inner city cycle ring and go to the Isar River. There's also a construction going on. There's a big bridge we will cross. And there is a great, the second big project of the bicycle referendum, which is realized right now. And we will take a look at the construction site.
Okay.
we used to have a pop-up bicycle lane during Corona on this street. And then we decided like to build a new bicycle path, a new bicycle infrastructure, because the whole road was redesigned and replanned, the tramway as well. And this was due to the construction, the need of construction or reconstruction of the Isar Bridge.
Okay.
And because it's very old and it had to be redone. And so the city council decided like to have just one car lane here and to have like this new cycle infrastructure, which was also very narrow in the past. And there are very many tourists because we are driving to the direction of the Deutsches Museum, the German museum, and there are very many tourists there. So we have to be careful now because the cycle lane is going straight, but I'm not really sure.
It looks like it went that way.
Yeah, it's already painted on it.
Oh.
But actually, I don't know if we are right at the moment.
Yeah.
But we go on the left. This
Okay.
is the cycle lane, and the cars should be on the right side. So
Yeah, it looks like
it's not
this
really
bus.
clear.
Yeah.
But we will go straight anyway. So
Yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah, it looks like they did temporarily have them.
That was temporarily,
Yeah.
but this is
Yeah.
like new painted now, and I think no one is used to it
Yeah.
already. And there's like the bus painting,
Yeah.
and it's not so clear.
Is
But
it meant to be a bus bike lane over here to
no,
the right?
there will be the separated bike lane in the middle. On the right-hand side, the bus lane. On left to the bicycle
Yeah.
lane, there will be like one car lane.
Oh, okay. So that's the reason
Yeah.
why is with
It's-
that being blocked,
Yeah.
the cars are
It's
occupying
not yet
this
ready.
space. Yeah.
And we have like also the new tram tracks
Yeah.
in the middle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the reason why it's all rebuilt is because of the reconstruction of the old
old bridge, yeah.
Ludwigsbrücke, the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually two bridges or two parts of the bridge.
Yeah.
And on the right side, you see the German museum, Deutsches Museum, which
Yeah.
is a huge attraction for tourists and
Right.
also for inhabitants.
Right. Right.
And we'll go straight with the cars.
Okay.
So be careful.
Yep. No, I'm completely fine riding with the cars as long as they're fine with me being in front of them.
Yeah, Chief Cycling Officer is on the road.
That's right. Oh, that's cool. That was the red.
Uh-huh. So there's a separated bridge also for pedestrians and
Yeah.
also for cyclists. You can decide if you want to go on the street or like with the cars, which is quite
Yeah.
stressy actually.
Yeah.
Or you can use the separated bridge, which was just built during the construction phase or is just established during the
Right.
construction phase.
Right.
And also here's Gasteig. It's a cultural place for concerts. It's closed at the moment. It will also be redesigned and refurbished. And there used to be pop-up bicycle lanes, just the hill, up the hill and down the hill as well. And now we have like new bicycle infrastructure there. So
Okay.
it came out of the pop-up lanes and we turn right here.
Okay.
And there will be the next project. So there will be a new bicycle path on the right-hand side and we will see a visualization. It's one more over there.
Yeah.
And there used to be also very narrow cycling infrastructure. And this is a major connection in the city next to the Isar River. So we are on a leisure route, but also for many daily commuters, for example, it's a very important connection.
Right.
And it was also a long discussion in the city council, but this is like one of the major bicycle referendum projects, which is realized like one of the first ones. It's the second one actually.
Yeah.
Which is just the construction is just in progress. So it started like 4 weeks ago, and you can see already many. What happens now, and this
Yeah.
like the whole stretch on the right-hand side will be the new bicycle path.
Nice.
A 2-lane bicycle path, but there will be more space now for pedestrians right next to the river.
Right. And
So-
clearly that was a part of it, is the space for the pedestrians is pretty constrained with the 2 lines of trees,
Yeah.
so you don't want to lose the trees.
Yeah, of course, yeah, that's
And,
important. And also, I mean, there was a big discussion because we are losing like almost 100 car parkings here.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's always a problem for the residents living here. We're
Yeah.
just going right here, and there you can
Okay.
take a picture of the visualization just
Okay.
here.
Oh yeah.
That will be the new cycling infrastructure at Zeppelinstraße.
Yeah.
It's a nice visualization. It's also new. We didn't do this in the past, but it's so important to have good communications on not just, it's not always about cycling, but it's about the quality of stay. It's about the environment, it's about trees, it's about green fields, it's about pedestrians, and it's about road safety for pedestrians and cyclists, and also the residents living here.
Right.
And it will be so much more quality after the project is finished. And I mean, we're losing a lot of car parking here. That's the main
Right.
issue, or was the main issue with this project.
Right.
And still it brings so much more quality for everyone, of course the cyclists, but also for pedestrians,
Yeah.
also for disabled people, for example.
Yeah.
It will be very nice. The road, how
Yeah.
it looked like before.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there was car parking, there was a narrow cycle path, and another cycle path. We can just take a look here. So you see like one narrow cycle path. So this is coming from the other direction, the cyclist, and
Right.
the other one was the same space, like around 1.10 meters,
Right.
which was going to the other direction, so in our direction. And this was like separated, but still there
Yeah.
were many conflicts between cyclists and pedestrians.
Right.
There are many people for leisure here, and they want to,
Yeah.
like have a good time and not to be stressed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the reason why we are building also this new infrastructure, and it will make it much more comfortable for everyone.
Right. For what's the future going to be for this path up here once the bike lane is done? Will this just be pedestrian only zone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So the whole side
The whole side
will
yeah.
be just for pedestrians.
Yeah.
So that's also one of the main goals of the bicycle referendum,
Right.
to separate pedestrians from cyclists, because there's such a high difference between the speeds,
right.
and to have separated pedestrian or sidewalks,
Sure.
and separated and protected cycle paths.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
one of the major goals of the bicycle referendum,
Yeah.
which we established and which was decided by the city council. And yeah, we're working on that, and it's a hard work. And as you can see, there are many construction sites everywhere. So the whole city, it feels like there's just construction site everywhere.
Yeah.
But now we will cycle like a few minutes next to the Isar River and go to the southern part of the Munich districts, Harlaching, Giesing. And there is a field experiment at the moment for a new cycle path. Which we want to build, but there's like yellow markings we will see later on. And there's also a new, or it's like, this is the second big construction for the bicycle referendum, and we will take a look at the first construction site where you can see also the first part is finished already,
Right.
and you can see the big difference, how it was before and how it looks like now.
Yeah, fantastic. Do you know if they'll try to keep this asphalt for the pedestrians, or will they transform and do something a little more permeable and a little less susceptible to the tree roads?
I'm not quite sure. I think they will keep it that way, because otherwise it's whole area here, like next to the river, there's a big wall, and it's very old.
Yeah.
And they are, or the construction department is a bit afraid if they change too much that they have to rechange everything.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
they have to build a new wall.
Yeah.
And so this is very old, and they said it's just, let's start with the cycle infrastructure and the separation of pedestrians and cyclists.
Yeah.
And then we think about what we can do later on.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think they will keep it. Maybe they are rebuilding also the cycle path. So you see
Right.
the separated lane.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it will be different. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
as you can see it here, like this, it looks like the new Platten.
Yeah, it looks like
the
the pavers. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm not sure if they
Yeah.
will do this here at
Yeah.
this place, but There will be some parts of it which will be paved with the Münchner Gehwegplatte. So it's a plate, square plate.
A paver of some sort.
Paver.
Yeah. And I noticed this way that it kind of splits, and you get one on either side. On that,
this is like the part of the two-way cycle path, and here it's split.
Right. Yeah.
And we will like have the two-way, or we will have the two-way cycle lane like built up the whole stretch.
Yeah.
To the next intersection.
Now, will that on-street bike lane then merge up onto here?
Yeah, I think it will merge like right 100 meter in front of us. It will merge then to the old
that'll be the merge spot. Will be right up there.
Yeah.
And that'll be nice too, because then it'll also get the people who are on bikes. They'll be over here. They'll be next to the cars, but the cars aren't moving very fast. This is a residential area.
Yes.
But then when the space allows, they're able to come back in and be through the alley of trees, which is always nice.
It's always nice, and it's more quiet, and it's easier also if you're here just for leisure or with your family or with your children.
Yeah.
And so you have also the trees and shadow in summertime. It's a lot cooler here.
Yeah.
And it's a good compromise.
Yeah. All right, cool. Beautiful.
I come over. This is like a natural given cycle highway next to the Isar River, which was always here. And it's very crowded in summer times, but also in winter times. So you see many daily commuters on the bicycle, but also a lot of people here for recreational reasons. So we underpass now this bridge.
Okay.
And there are a lot of residents and people and going swimming in summer. So I'm there at the Isar with my children because it has a very fine water quality.
Yeah.
So that's also extraordinary in such a big city. Munich has like 1.5 million inhabitants.
Yeah.
That you have a river where you can swim right in the middle of the city.
Right.
So, for example, here there's still work for us to do because it's a two-way bicycle lane. It's very narrow and there are many cyclists, but we have a lot of trees here and we don't want to chop off the trees, of course.
Right.
And so there are always parts that are not so good, but now we will come on a very good part of the Isar highway, as we say.
Yeah.
And that will be very nice.
Some of the water activities.
Ah, that's nice. Wow.
Right on cue. The family's having a great time.
Yeah. It's very nice to be here and to just lay in the sun, go swimming.
Yeah. Blow some bubbles.
Blow bubbles, play soccer, play around. So just have a good time here. And a lot of residents are using this.
Yeah.
It's it's for free for everyone.
Yeah.
You can go swimming. You can go on like boats if the tide is not too high.
Yeah.
And you just can have a great time here.
Yeah.
And that's also the reason why Munich is so popular. So many people are moving to Munich. That's why the prices for housing are very high for apartments. And that's also why the rise of the bicycle is so popular, because it's you have short ways in the whole city. So it's a very dense city.
Yeah.
But if you want to go from the city center to the outskirts, it's like 10 kilometers maybe.
Right,
so you're very fast there. And it's also a green city, many trees. Not just construction sites, but also the river, parks, recreational areas, playgrounds. And this is maybe the most important attractiveness for people, you see the swimmers here?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Swimmers are
So
out
they're
in the
going
water.
to the island, the
Yeah.
small island in the middle, maybe to have a barbecue or to grill or just
Yeah.
hang around, drink a beer.
Yeah.
So,
Fantastic. Yeah, it's so important to have activity assets like this and access to nature within a city. Like you said, a city of 1.5 million people, to be able to have a facility like this and to have an amenity like this river
yeah.
with the water quality that you have, that's so incredibly important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, were you suffering from an extremely wet spring like the rest of
Yes.
the area? Yeah.
It was not that bad like it was in many other areas in Bavaria or in whole Germany.
Yeah.
But it rained a lot during the whole spring. But still, the river has a very large bed. I don't
Yeah.
know how you say that.
Yeah.
So it was also, we had this so-called renaturation
Right.
to like 20 years ago. So it used to be a very small stream
Right.
and very fast stream, and it was widened. There was like a huge project going on for 10 years or something, the
Yeah.
widening of the whole Isar River.
Right.
And now there's a lot of space for the water.
Right.
And even if there is high water or it's a lot of rain coming from the mountains, or there's the snow melting in the mountains in spring
Yeah.
or late winter, there is not so many problems with high tide and flooding.
Right,
So
yeah.
we don't have many flooding problems since then.
Yeah,
so that's
since
great.
then.
We're turning left here.
Yeah. I can imagine that if it were to flood, it would just kind of, cover this space here, and
Yeah.
that's fine. It's part of the design.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now we are going back to the city. Here's the Wittelsbacher Brücke. It's also one of the big bridges for cyclists traveling from the south or the southeastern part of the city into the city.
Uh-huh.
And we are going now to Giesing, the southern district of the inner city. And there will be new bicycle paths as well. And there's this field experiment which we are doing at the moment. And I will show you
Fantastic.
this experiment. We are having the plan or the improvement of the city council to build a new bicycle way, bicycle path, and we are testing if the flow of the motorized traffic is okay with that.
Okay.
And if we have to change the traffic lights or to adjust the traffic lights and
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah.
So we're trying it out, and we'll just have a look at that.
I swing around and right on cue, we see a mom with her son riding, along this stretch.
Yeah.
So,
Typical.
This is why we're doing this.
Yeah, excellent. That's a very good example for a typical shaped road, how it looks like in many German cities and also in Munich. We have like 2 car lanes, we have car parking on each side, and we have a very narrow cycle path and a very narrow pedestrian
Right.
sidewalk. So there are many conflicts with pedestrians here, and this will be also challenging to change that at some point. There's also police enforcement of the speed regulation. So we have new, there just was 30 kilometers an hour speed limit. And I think they controlled the car drivers if they were lower than 30 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
So, and this is the Giesinger Berg, the Giesinger mountain. And we have an approved Beschluss, city council paper that we are building a new infrastructure for cycling as well and pedestrians. We get rid of 1 car lane,
Okay.
and we have we'll have a broad cycle path here on both sides, separated from the pedestrians.
Nice.
And we were going to build a bridge for pedestrians and cyclists just over here from the church on the left-hand side,
Okay.
which you see. from top of this barrier here
Yeah.
to the right-hand side. So there will be a new bridge in maybe the construction will start next year.
Okay.
And this will be much more comfortable for residents walking
Yeah.
and cycling, because at the moment it's just a big junction for cars,
Yeah.
and it's very uncomfortable for cyclists and walking people like to pass here. And we can maybe stop right over there then.
Whew. I should have worn my shorts.
Hell yeah. You don't have sip shots, yeah. So that's also important. That's one of the many breweries in Munich. It's a pretty new one. It's Giesinger Bräu. It's very popular amongst the population in Munich. And maybe they will have also a tent on the Oktoberfest, but we'll see. So this is the so-called Giesinger Berg. It's a big intersection built for cars, but not for pedestrians or cyclists. There's an underpassing which is very dark and bad smelling, and there is a school here and there are many residents living there, and so it's a problem since like many decades. And now we have the opportunity to rebuild this whole intersection, and we are doing a field experiment with the yellow markings now. There used to be 2 car lanes
Right.
in both directions, and now it's turned just to like 1 car lane in each direction. I mean, it's more traffic jam. It used to be traffic jam before, also with 2 car lanes.
Right.
It's a bit more now, and the people have to get used to it. But we have, when you turn around on the other side, we have like 2 separated bicycle lanes now on each side.
Right.
There was like no bicycle infrastructure coming the other direction at all, so you had to be on the major roads. It's a 50 km/h speed limit, so fast going cars the hill down, and it was like really dangerous for cyclists, especially like for elderly people or for children or parents with their children. And now we redesigned this and did this yellow marking experiment. It looks like a pop-up bicycle lane, which we were establishing, or which we established in 2020 during the Corona pandemia, and we're trying it out. And I think next year we will rebuild this whole intersection. So there will be an approval, or has to be an approval by the city council. But I'm hopefully, there will be an approval, and we can build then a new bicycle path here, which is separated better from the cars.
And what you were saying earlier too is that, you know, from over here where we see this beautiful church, you'll see a bridge,
Yes.
you know, over this this intersection.
It's not
That'll
just a
make
straight bridge, but it will look like a snake.
Nice.
So it will like go like that, and we'll cross it on the other side of the brewery. So it will come from there to there, so on a high level.
Yeah.
And it will be for pedestrians and cyclists.
Okay.
It will look very nice. So I saw the Entwürfe, the drawings and the visualizations.
Yeah.
Will look very nice, and it will make it so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And we see across the intersection here again, we've got kids and parents riding through this area. So yeah, I mean, there's clearly a need. And just like you said before, you know, the dark underpasses, that's just not enough.
No.
You know, that's not all ages and abilities. That's not friendly for everybody.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Fantastic. And like you said, just use a little bit of paint.
Yeah.
It narrows things up. It gets the traffic patterns used to it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and really the whole point with all of this, all ages and abilities infrastructure, is hopefully encouraging even more people to make those short trips by walking and biking and using transit, so that there isn't as much pressure on the motor vehicle system. If the only people who are driving are the people who absolutely have to drive or absolutely want to drive, then it'll be better for them too. Yeah.
That's always, we are communicating this always. It's hard for many car drivers who are used to their mobility patterns, that they are driving like 2 or 3 kilometers. So more than 50% of all trips in the city are still done, like the trips between 0 and 5 kilometers are still done by car. So that's the crucial capacity we have to convince to not always take the car just for short trips, but also use the bicycle, the buses. We have a great public transport system with trams, buses, S-Bahn trains, underground, and we have many public transport stops everywhere in the city, so you don't really need a car for your private trips. Of course, the carpenters and the logistic enterprises and the fire department and the police and the taxi driver, they need car parking, they need car lanes, but there are so many cars in the cities just occupied by one person and going just like 2.5 kilometers, so that's important to have a shift there.
Yeah, fantastic. Love it.
All right.
I can't wait to see this. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Well, folks, this is as good a place as any to end part 1 of this tour of Munich with Florian. Hey, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and share it with a friend. And if you haven't done so already, be honored to have you subscribe to the channel. Just click on that subscription button down below and ring that notifications bell. Well, until next time, this is John signing off by wishing you much activity, health, and happiness. Cheers. And a huge shout out to all my Active Towns ambassadors supporting the channel via YouTube Super Thanks, Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, as well as making contributions to the nonprofit. I could not do this without you. Thank you all so very much.